Hi everyone. Everyone's weight loss experience seems to be different. So I decided to make a video talking about my experience losing 125 pounds. I'll be touching on quite a few topics during this video, so I'll put timestamps for each topic in the description section below, as well as a link to an article regarding the dietary methods that I talk about in this video. Here I am as a teen, getting close to my peak weight of 295. There aren't any pictures of me actually at my peak weight because I began to avoid mirrors and cameras. It all started when I was young, having trouble making friends in junior high. I think because my dad and my brother played football, I thought I should too, but I was a terrible player. When the day came that I went to the weight room with the rest of the football team, I discovered that I enjoyed lifting weights and getting bigger and stronger. It was also something I was relatively good at, and I started gaining some social acceptance because of it. So that fed the need to get as big as I could. So I started eating as much protein as I could, as many calories as I could, reading bodybuilding magazines. I can remember a point where I was getting heavier every time I stepped on the scale. I was gaining at least a pound a week, and I was actually happy about that. But I didn't realize that I was gaining 2 to 4 pounds of fat for every pound of muscle. I did realize though that I was starting to get a little unhappy with my self-image, a little uncomfortable around mirrors and cameras. And around this time, I started to get chest pains, which was my real wake-up call. Sometime almost right after the chest pains, I found a book on exercise in my dad's small book collection. And this book was actually a textbook from a well-known personal trainer certification program. Cracking open this book would actually change the course of the rest of my life. As I read through the book, every technique, every small bit of knowledge that I gained from there, I put into practice right away. During the whole process of losing 125 pounds, my exercise program pretty much stayed the same. I would weight train 3 to 5 times per week, sprint or jump rope about 3 times per week, and run longer distance 5 to 6 days per week. The running I would always do on an empty stomach, except for maybe 1 or 2 cups of black coffee. But this is an old school method. Nowadays, it's been called into question whether you'll actually lose more weight or not if you eat before you do cardio. But for me, it was a matter of getting to the track early in the morning before I had a chance to come up with an excuse not to run. So for me, I know it was definitely a key. I would say logging workouts was an important factor. Writing down every set and rep, how much weight was used, and then the next workout trying to add a rep or two or another 2 to 5 pounds. That was definitely key in the weight training workouts. In the sprints, I would log how fast I could run a given distance and then try to gradually shave that time down. In the long distance running, I would log how long I ran, the distance that I ran, and try to either increase the time that I ran for next week or increase the distance run in that time. At a certain time, I cut it off at 45 minutes and I didn't want to go any further beyond that. So I began to just try to run a longer distance in that 45 minutes. Throughout my weight loss, I had jobs that were pretty physically demanding most of the time, but not always. If you're here watching this video because you're trying to lose weight, don't always focus on the number of calories that you're burning during your workout, but remember to consider the calories that you burn throughout your day. I believe there's more than one method to handle your diet that'll result in weight loss, but by far the one that worked for me the best was the zigzag diet. This is similar or perhaps the same as the carb cycling method, where you eat fewer calories than you burn for several days a week, and you eat more calories than you burn for the remaining days of the week. And all of the fluctuation comes from carbohydrates, similar to the carb cycling method. One of the reasons I think this worked the best for me was that you actually lose the weight during the deficit when you're eating fewer calories than you burn. But to prevent muscle loss or even to help you gain some muscle while you're losing weight, you eat more calories than you burn on those remaining days. But I like this diet so much that I'll include a link to an article about it in the description below. I believe in that article that I linked in the description box, there's a formula for how to figure out how many calories you need on the low calorie days and the high calorie days. I used that as a guideline, and then I think I began to pare it back a little bit as I watched the scale until it finally began to move a little bit more quickly. Sometimes I would overdo it on the high calorie days with a cheat meal, but I always made sure that was timed with my sprints or my hardest weight training workout. Also, I followed the small frequent meals method, where I would eat about every 3 hours or so, and I would think about what I was going to do. If I was going to sit around at a desk for the next 3 hours, very few carbohydrates. If I was about to go for a sprint or do my weight training workout, I would eat far more carbohydrates. At the end of the day, everything added up to that 1 part fat, 2 parts protein, 3 parts carbohydrates ratio. Some other things that I watched were the glycemic index of foods, the digestibility and the protein quality of foods. But in the interest of keeping this video a little bit shorter, I'm not going to go into too much detail about those things. Maybe you can comment below if you want to know more about those things. One of the only supplements I took during this entire time, consistently, was whey protein. That's because protein is important when you're trying to lose weight or build muscle. And also whey protein is a very high quality protein, which means it's very digestible, which is important when you're trying to keep your calorie count around a certain number. Using these methods, I lost about 2 pounds a week average for over a year straight, until I reached a weight of 170. Some weeks I lost 1 pound, some weeks I lost up to 4 pounds, but that was never on purpose. That sort of just happened on its own. In fact, if I ever lost more than 2 pounds in a given week, I would increase my calories to kind of slow it down a little bit. One thing you may not hear mentioned often is if you lose more than 2 pounds a week consistently, you slightly increase the chances that you're going to get loose skin. The whole process inspired me to become a trainer, to show people that even though there are no secrets and no shortcuts, anybody can do it. It's just a matter of dedication and consistency. None of this is meant to be advice. This is just my personal experience. There's certainly more conservative ways of going about losing weight, and there have been new studies that question the effectiveness of some of the things that I mentioned in this video. But I do recommend that you look into the zigzag diet, the link that I put in the description below. My usual videos are exercise demonstrations and workout follow-alongs that I put out every Wednesday. I'm certainly open to doing more of these videos if I get a positive response, but I appreciate everybody that likes, shares, and subscribes, and thanks for watching.